Hello, everyone, and welcome to another episode of Don't Wait Till Pigs Fly, a podcast for and by successful business people who also deal with the pain and frustration of chronic illness. Here's Nancy Becker.
Today we're talking with Conny Graf, who is going to help us all learn a little bit about how to keep our offices, our heads, our homes, our lives organized. That's a big task, Conny. Welcome.
Thank you so much, Nancy. It's an honor to be here.
Tell us a little bit about who you are and what brought us here.
Who am I? Well, I would say I'm a rebel to a degree. So I always like to do things a little different than most people, and I insist on not doing what everybody else does. So in general, I'm from Switzerland originally, but I live in Vancouver, BC, Canada for the last, 17 years. Well, I was not always in Vancouver, but in Canada for the last 17 years. And I was kind of born to want to be organized. So I'm not saying I am perfect or I am organized, but I'm kind of born to always strive to make my life easier. So I see being organized making my life easier. So I know already as a little girl, I would rearrange my room and I would do all these things because I was always on the hunt or on the search for it being easier on me, it flowing better, it feeling better. Yeah, so that's me. But as I said, I'm at the same time a rebel, so sometimes conflicting inside of me.
I get that. I understand that. And, for me, it's my husband drives me nuts and I drive him nuts because wherever something lands is where it lands for him, and then he's wandering around. I can't find my phone. I can't find my glasses. Where are my keys? I know exactly where everything is because I put it in the same place every single time so that I can just go and get it. And if there's ever a time when I can't find something, I go nuts because it was right here. I know it was, I hear you. I have to be organized, but
it uses so much energy too when you then go nuts, like you call it, like then you use just think back of a time when that happened to you. It uses so much energy. We get so wound up about it and we're frantically searching for it because it's probably the worst moment we can't find it, because we really need it. And it uses so much energy. And this is kind of what I'm saying. What I'm trying to do is always make it easier for me and kind of think ahead. And like you said, always put it back at the same place where you can find it again, because that's where it belongs. And it's actually a habit that we can incorporate into our life pretty easily. It just needs a little bit of effort in the beginning and then afterwards, because whether you lay it down just somewhere willy-nilly or where it belongs doesn't need that much more effort. So,
right. Yeah. Well, and as an example, I put up a hook on a cabinet right inside our back door where we come and go. If we want to go out, we want to get in the car, right there's where the keys are, So all you have to do is hang the keys up when you come in, and when you're ready to go, you pick them up and take them out with you. How much easier can that be? But it doesn't seem to get through all the time. And I know that that's an issue for a lot of people, and we'll get into some of you. I know you have some techniques and some strategies that we'll talk about in a few minutes, but we talk about if we're looking at people who have some sort of chronic issue, a lot of the time we often will have many of the same. No matter what our illness is, we'll have the same things happening to us, like short-term memory and brain fog and different things like that. And I've gone crazy. Where are my glasses? Where are my glasses? And they're on the top of my head. Oh, there they are. Okay. People putting things in the refrigerator that should be in the oven, and all of these kinds of things, because with our problems with our short-term memories and our fuzzy brains, we don't have the capacity to always remember everything. So it's like you said, it may be hard in the beginning, but if you do it the same way for a while, it becomes a habit.
It does, and it becomes so much easier for you. So one of my sayings is decluttering is self-love. And what you're basically doing is, like I said, make your life easier. So especially for people who struggle with health issues, they already need so much more energy to get through the day compared to people who have no health issues. Then if you're on top of it are being disorganized and having these bursts of frustration because you can't find something, that takes even more energy away from you. So how is this serving you? Probably not that much. And I mean, the goal is anyways not to be perfect. I'm for sure not perfect. I'm the first one who tells you I'm not perfect. And I can go nuts too if I don't find something. But then I can remember, okay, what did go wrong? And where did I go wrong? And often it is that we're just kind of like not thinking of what we're doing and just doing something. And if you just get this 2 seconds in where you think, no, I'm gonna put it at the right spot, like you mentioned before, just drop it somewhere. I know a lot of my clients and a lot of my friends, I just put it here for now. That's the worst sentence you can say, because you will never remember where the place is that it was for now. If you can get yourself just 2 seconds to remember, no, my future self, or however you want to call it, will not remember. So let's take the 5 more seconds to put it where it belongs. And then you make your life so much easier and less stressful, which in turn probably is better for your health too. And I'm not saying like you're getting better health-wise, but you're less stressed, which probably helps to get through the day easier.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Stress is one of the top issues that people that have health problems go through for so many reasons. We're stressed out right now. I've been having a horrible time over the last couple of weeks. I'm so stressed because I'm running the business. I'm trying to figure out how to pack. I'm trying to figure out what I'm going to do when we move our house. And, there's just all of this. And I can't find anything because stuff is just everywhere right now, trying to figure out, okay, this we're going to throw away, this we're going to sell, this we're taking. And, there's just piles everywhere. And I have got to figure out some sort of a formula to keep myself, knowing where everything is and not being stressed, because I'm not sleeping. I've got stomach aches. I've got everything under the sun because I'm not organized right now.
Moving is, of course, a special situation, and by its nature very stressful. So I can totally relate. So what you want to maybe try to figure out is, what are the things that you use on a daily basis, and keep them with you close by, and pack the ones that are not needed on a daily basis. And the advantage of that is when you arrive at your new place, you have already everything that you use on a daily basis with you, because that's what you keep close. So one of the things I often say is it has to do with boundaries to clutters. Oftentimes we keep the wrong things close. What we need to keep close is the things that we use on a regular basis. And moving actually is kind of as hard and stressful as it is, it's a good process to figure out what is actually the things that I use on a regular basis, and what is the things that I just have because I have them, and don't really use on a regular basis. So what are they doing so close to me? So
well, and I know something that I do that I heard a long time ago from someone that does organization, closet organization specifically. If it's something you haven't worn in a year, get rid of it.
Yeah.
So I just did that, and I've now got this big, this tells you how bad it is. I've got this big bag of clothes that I want to take to Goodwill, because I haven't worn them. They don't fit. There's whatever. But we haven't gotten to the point of actually taking them to the Goodwill because I don't know whether it's open, with this COVID. I don't know what's going on. And so that's just one more piece of clutter because it's just sitting there and it needs to be. So I think also a lot of the organization that maybe you can talk to is that take another 2 seconds to actually do it and do it right. We don't want to take the amount of effort that it takes to actually do this. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, but also often because we put too much on our plate. So what I notice is when people start to declutter, what happens a lot is they put too much on their plate. So you think you have to do this whole thing in one afternoon, or you have to do this whole thing in one weekend. Who the hell would even want to do that? I mean, like it's not real. Like, and that's why you then say, oh, when I have time, I will do it. That's not how it works. So what you have to make sure, and this is not just for people who struggle with health issues, but especially with people who struggle with health issues, you have to manage your energy. So don't try to do it all in one afternoon or one weekend. Go bits by bits. But then I agree with you, then you have to go all the way to the end. It's like when we're all in business, so we can't just start something for a client that never finish it. The client wouldn't be very happy. But we're doing this with ourselves a lot. We're starting something, but then never getting it done. What I am a big advocate for is a few minutes a day. So now you did the biggest step already. You got all these clothes that don't fit you, that you didn't wear. You got them out of the closet. Now you have to get this bag where it belongs at Goodwill or wherever you want to bring it. Maybe sometimes it's and especially with COVID now, it's of course harder. We have a lot of other mental stress on top of it, and then things might not be open. So before, I actually had a podcast episode on my podcast about that. Before, we were not even aware how good we have it. We could just, whatever we didn't want, we could just bring to Goodwill. Now, COVID took this easy route away from us. Now we have to become a little bit more creative. But what we could do, for example, under the rule of a few minutes a day is, okay, today I figure out, is Goodwill open, yes or no? This will get you one step closer. That doesn't mean you have to run today to Goodwill and bring it, but at least it gets you closer. If yes, then make me an agreement with yourself when you're going to bring it, or when your husband's going to bring it, or maybe they come even and pick it up. Sometimes we have curbside pickup from these because they're so in dire need for stuff. So they will come and pick it up, possibly. You can find that out. But if you're just having it sitting there in a corner, then it's definitely clutter. If you're working still on it, it's not clutter. It's in process. But we have to bring it to an end like we would for a client bring a project to an end. If it's no, then you can start thinking of, okay, what else can I do? No, the Goodwill place isn't open, but where else? There is still, and I would say especially now during COVID, there's even more people in need of possibly your clothes. So where are the places where these people still get their needs fulfilled or served? So it just needs a little bit more effort from our side, but we're just doing it like increments,
And that makes so much sense, because I think, just the whole concept of adding one more thing. But I can see the minute getting off of this podcast, I can see Googling, Goodwill and seeing whether it's open or not. And then I know, okay, well, that's one hurdle, yes or no, and so that makes a lot of sense.
The Business Success Unlimited Patreon page is now live. Patreon is a simple way for you to contribute to this podcast every month, and in return, You'll get exclusive benefits, such as a monthly live Q&A with Nancy and a business book club. If you're interested in becoming a VI Pig, we would really appreciate your support in keeping our independent production going. You can find a link to our Patreon page at don'twaittillpigsfly.com. Thank you so much.
Shifting a little bit, if we are talking about work, and for many of us who did have offices or who had offices at home, things are different now. We are all, for the most part, we are home. A lot of schools around the country have decided they're not going to open, or the parents have decided they're not going to send their kids back to school.
Yeah.
Which means that our life during the hours of the day when we're normally working are becoming crazy, and we need to, if you're like me, I like to have some sounds going on because I can tune them out. And if there's no sound, it's like I'm looking for something and waiting to hear something. So I like to have some sound, but I can't imagine having kids playing in the background and television and, so we need to have an organized workspace.
Yeah.
Especially for those of us who are making do. Like right now, thankfully, it's just my husband and I can't get to my office. He's taken over my office because I'm not using it at the moment. And my office is my living room couch. But I still have to organize it because more than anything else, I need to know where things are because I can't get up and go find them. I can't be constantly calling for him to come and find something for me. It needs to be organized.
Yeah.
What do you tell the listeners that are in a situation where they may not have a beautiful office where they can, file everything and keep the pens and paper separate and everything's just sort of clumped on the dining room table or the couch? What do you tell them?
Well, first of all, I tell them it's actually a good situation because most people who have a beautiful office never think for a second how they should set it up so it actually works for them. If you are stuck in a not so perfect place or location, you have to think more. So look at it as a positive thing. Okay, now you have to think about it, look at it the positive thing. And then, yes, especially in stressful times, that I can't talk, that we have right now, and you possibly do have the kids at home and it is chaos around you. You have to try to make the things for yourself as easy as possible. So whatever you need, and you can do dishes or you can cook while you think about that. What are the things that I absolutely need on a daily, or not even on a daily, on an hourly basis even? And these things have to be really close to you. And then whatever you don't use as much could be further away, but still that in arm's reach, And then organize it to a degree. Organizing has such sometimes a bad aftertaste, especially for me as a rebel, like organized sounds so rigid. And it's not about rigid, it's about being kind to yourself. So if the world outside is already crazy, you want to make sure you don't drive yourself crazy. So find a container, a basket or something, or a filing, like how you call these, or accordion file things for yourself, where you have everything you need in there close by, or in the basket have dividers, so you have the things that are you don't have to go through the whole pile when you search for something. Yeah, exactly, perfect. So when for example, you're on a phone call and you tell your client, oh yeah, I have it right here, but then you have everything just on one pile, you have to frantically sort through it, which it puts you under a lot of stress. So if you can just put some dividers in between, however they look, they could be just pieces of colored paper, they could be index card, they could be whatever. Always, and there is no general rule for anybody. Again, I'm a rebel. It's what works for you. I can't tell you, Nancy, what works for you. You have to figure it out yourself. But what I can do is I can help you figure it out for yourself. So think about how you function. Think about, what do I think when I search for something? That's a big indicator that most people do wrong. They go on Pinterest or they go on Instagram and listen what some guru says how to organize their stuff. Most of the time it doesn't work. You have to think for yourself. You are the wisdom. When I'm looking for, let's say, this piece of paper, a client's contract, what do I think? Do I think contract? Do I think the client's name? What do I think? And then when you're filing it or putting it into your mobile office or whatever you want to call this, put it in like that so that your brain finds it again. That's your highway that your brain has. Your brain thinks automatically, oh, let's say client Miller or whatever. You think Miller. So you have to find a way how you can store it that when your brain thinks Miller, you can go to whatever represents Miller and you find it. If your brain thinks contracts, all the clients' contracts, then you go to a place that your brain recognizes as contracts. So that's the important part. I feel that you have to, I don't remember who said that, but was it Stephen Covey or somebody? Always have the end in mind. So you have to, before you file something or before you place something in your environment, think about what your brain does in stress when you need it now. What is your brain doing? And then sort it and organize it like that. And then if you get into a stressful situation and you notice it doesn't work, then just go and reevaluate. Why didn't it work? Why didn't it find it? Because I thought I'm thinking Miller, but I'm actually thinking contract, or vice versa, whatever. And then switch it.
Yeah. Well, and you said something that really makes a lot of sense, and I don't even know that that you said it. So it's really cool.
Probably not.
but it's also important, I think, to understand and to realize that just because we do something a certain way does not mean that that's written in stone and has to stay that way. You can figure out how you're going to file everything in this little basket that I've got here beside me. And then I can say, well, that's not really working. Let me figure out a different way to do it. So you try something different, and you try until you get something that works for you.
Yeah, but there is a danger there, because sometimes our brain tells us we have to know exactly how to do it. And then but I have no time right now to figure this out and reorganize it. So we're putting up with this wrong thing or this the organization that doesn't really work for us because we think we can't change it, but you can always tweak on it. So I'm all about tweaking. Just like I always say, a few minutes a day, I say tweak it. So who says you have to pull out everything out of your basket and rearrange it completely? It may not work either. So what you have to do is tweak it. So what exactly doesn't work? And then tweak that. And then maybe in a week you notice, oh, wait a second, that doesn't really work 100% either. So tweak it again. And that's way more sustainable. And that's how you get to the perfect organization in your basket, not by thinking, oh, I need an hour to reorganize my basket. Then we're too much in the brain. Then we're not in the stress response, because sometimes our brain tells us, when we're not in stress, our brain tells us this is how we should react, and then the stressful situation comes and we don't react like our brain tells us we should. We react completely different. And this is why I'm saying tweaking. And when you notice that it doesn't work the way you thought it would, then tweak it again. Yeah. And so, nothing is set in stone. Tweak.
Well, and I think we need to allow ourselves the grace to say, oh, well, it didn't work. That doesn't mean I'm stupid. It just means that I've still got to find some other way to do it so that it works better.
Yeah, and like you just said, we do certain things a certain way, and sometimes it's not even how we would do it. It's how our mother told us to do it, how our former boss told us to do it if we had a job and the boss wanted it that way. And we just continue doing it, and we're never paying attention whether this actually really works for us, you know?
Yep. There's a story that my grandmother years and years and years ago used to tell about, and that was, she would take a roast, and she was getting ready to cook this roast, and she'd cut off both ends of the roast and put it in the pan to put in the oven to cook. And finally we asked her, why are you cutting off the ends? Because this pan's big enough to hold the whole thing. And she, well, my mother cut off the ends. Well, come to find out, the original person in the family doing this cut off the ends because the pan wasn't big enough. You know, and it just got carried on down the generations, not because that was the best way to cook the roast. It was because great grandma didn't have a pan big enough.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly. And that's sometimes what happens to us. We don't even clue off that we're just doing things that are actually not really working for us. And we're just putting up with it, you know, like, oh, well, I just do it this way. But it uses a lot of energy. And I'm thinking like, when you're already have a limited amount of energy, which we all have, but then if you have some kind of a health issue, you're probably even more restricted with your energy. It's so sad when you give so much energy away for something silly that you could change by just thinking. Like I said, you can do dishes, you can dust your house, or you can whatever, you can just sit in a chair and enjoy the view, whatever, and just say, okay, how would it work easier for me, and start tweaking, not changing everything from 0 to 180, but just tweak and do it the way you want. And don't doesn't matter how you did it before. We're always so quick to judge ourselves. So I have this issue too. This is mental clutter. How we judge ourselves, and then it's unclean. How did somebody call this? Unclean emotions, because we're already feeling stressed, and then we're beating ourselves up for feeling stressed, which is unclean. It's not kind. We wouldn't be with anybody else that way. We would be very kind and understanding with us.
Do it to ourselves.
Yeah, and we're not stupid. We may do stupid things, but we're not stupid. So, yeah, we're just figuring it all out. So,
I love it, and I've got so much, and it's interesting. I've got so much energy now. I want to just start doing things and looking at this mess and saying, I got to fix it. I want to do all of this. So I think when we hear good comments and good thoughts like this, that it does give us a new sense of energy and a new wanting to, it's like the 1st of January for me has always been a time when it's the start of a new year. I'm going to go in and redo my whole business, and you just start going at it because we get that extra energy, but it peters out very quickly.
I know. And that's the problem with decluttering. So I want to say, so if you want to declutter and you're doing it, if you're taking on too much, you feel exhausted afterwards. If you do it right, I don't like the word right, but if you're doing it with yourself in mind, with self-love in mind, you're feeling energetic after decluttering. And this is your thermometer, basically. So when you're doing something around decluttering and you're feeling exhausted afterwards, you did it too long. You took on too much. So then you have to know, next time I have to do less. And even if you have to start with 5 minutes or with 10 papers or whatever, the goal is, the advantage of decluttering is you feel better afterwards, better and lighter and more energized. The minute you feel heavier and exhausted, you overdid it. And that's a good indicator, and then don't beat yourself up if you're exhausted. Just, okay, next time I do less. And that's why I often say, set a timer for 5 minutes, depending on your energy levels. And in the beginning, I always say too, you have to build up your decluttering muscle first a little bit. You wouldn't go into the gym and work on a machine for an hour without any training before. So start really small and always be mindful. You want to feel better, lighter, and energized after doing it. Then you're on the right track.
I love it. And I think that is a wonderful place to stop. We've done more than our time, which I get into these every time and I just get so interested, and we get talking about things, and I could just continue to talk for hours, but we have decluttering to do.
We all have to decluttering to do. Yes. Yeah,
absolutely. So if there were one thing that you want to tell us before we get off this call that we haven't talked about already, what would that be?
I just want to say that decluttering is not a one-time event. It's a journey. And even if you feel like you're decluttered, it's like an onion. There's always more layers. And it's like bathing or taking a shower or brushing your teeth. It's never done. So it's a journey. And that's why I also say, like, don't overdo it. There is no end point, because it's what we do. We change, so our needs change. So we have to tweak things again, tweak. Yeah.
I love it. How would somebody get a hold of you if they say, I really want her to help me? What would they do to get a hold of you?
So my hub is my website. So best is to go to my website. So it's connygraf.com, but it's CONNY. So I write my name with a Y, CONNYGRAF.com. And from there, you can, if you prefer Facebook, you find me on Facebook. But it's the hub where you can go. I have a lot of information there too, free information, how to start. There is my email address is mentioned there, everything. That's the best.
Sounds
place.
Wonderful. And I know for me that this is something that's very, very, very important. And I'm sure for a lot of us that are listening, this is something that we really need to take some time to think about and figure out what we're going to do. And I encourage you to call and see if you can work with Conny, because she's got some great ideas. And somebody said something about an uncluttered mind is a good something. I can't remember the quote. I'm going to butcher it.
Yeah.
But if you can figure out what works for you, and to keep your life and your desk and your business uncluttered, it's going to run more smoothly and efficiently. So thank you so much, Conny. I appreciate you being on here with us today. Anybody have any questions that they'd like either for Conny to answer or for me, put comments in the comment section. Let me know what other topics you'd like to hear about. You can hear all of our podcasts at www.don'twaittillpigsfly.com. And until we meet again, get out there, guys, be productive, and soar higher. Take care, y'all. Talk to you soon. Bye-bye.